not necessarily that you can't be successful doing things like a cookie cutter way, but it can burn you the hell out.
I need you back. I need you back.
I have been having the laziest Sunday. I have a new stream day that I'm streaming on Saturdays instead of Fridays, and then giving myself Sunday completely off to kind of reset my house, be lazy, play some games by myself if I want to. Just like lots of freedom to do my own thing. But last night after stream, I was deliriously recording. One, because I'm still so geeked about fixing my camera and getting better output from it. And the quality was looking really nice last night, especially with all the lights, and it was like nighttime. Everything was just looking real good. At one point I was rambling and posting stories on Instagram, and one thing I started talking about is like streamers having their own, like, don't assume all streamers want the same thing out of streaming. And I've been doing these tutorials over on TikTok, and I'm eating that up. I love it. Like, one, for the girlies to like be in my comments asking very specific tech questions excites me for whatever reason. Like, seeing girls and the girly streamers and the girl gamers like asking very technical questions, which I've had those questions too and haven't really figured out. Like, I've just had to do research and figure it out. But I feel like I've grown so proud of myself for understanding even what that means. Like, as I was like trying to improve different parts of stream, like knowing what questions to ask, like learning enough about cameras and setups and computers and GPUs and all of these things to be able to even formulate a question myself made me so proud of myself. So seeing other girls do it, it's like, I'm excited. It's just like hashtag woman in STEM, eating it up. There was a series I wanted to once bring over to the channel where it was just like, I don't know, coffee and chit chat. I already have my coffee for the day, so we just have a huge thing of water right now. What I kind of want to talk about is forming your own lane as a streamer, but I don't even think this is just related to streaming. I think this can be related to anything that you're actively pursuing. Like, when I was thinking about this, I was like, this could apply to my real life career. This could apply to like when I was in Second Life, I had the same thought process around like the spaces I created. When I had the club, I had the same thought process there. Same when I have Bayside, same when I wanted to start streaming through Second Life. So I think there's just like a general message or an outlook that I think helps you grow and succeed if you adopt this type of thinking. Also, this video is not scripted whatsoever. I have not even figured out what I want to talk about really, or I just figured I would work through it on camera. You know, lately I've been working through things or figuring stuff out by text first and then trying to make a video out of it, but this is just like ramblings. I'm gonna start with streaming. That's what I was talking about when I first thought about it, but I think even from a viewer's perspective, I think it's very easy to assume all streamers have the same goals with their streaming. And I think especially because streaming, I think, is becoming more popular. I do think TikTok made streaming more popular because they made it more accessible. I know it's always been easy to just like get up and stream on Twitch, but discoverability is not as explosive as TikTok. So I think we see this huge trend of people like, yeah, I can do this. The barriers to entry are low. The barriers to getting huge audiences are low, and I'm just going to jump right in and do it. And I think there have been just really influential people in this space. And I think as of late, especially for like minority groups, Black people, women, I think we're seeing so many more people that aren't just your typical, you know, girl, you can't skirt around it, just aren't your typical, just like, you know, white guys. I think there was a period in time where the biggest names in gaming or in streaming were white men, and I think you're seeing it's just diversifying a lot, and I think a lot of people are really excited about that. And I think when you look at people like Kai Cenat, who I never know if I'm saying his name right, Kai Cenat, I think he's inspired just like a whole generation of people who, one, maybe have had some experience with streaming like on TikTok, and now they're diversifying and they're finding Twitch and YouTube and maybe Kick. I think there's this eagerness. And I think when people see streamers like him, even from a viewer perspective, you assume that is what all streamers are trying to do, or what all streamers want to get into, or that's the type of trajectory or like end goal. Like, everyone's like, if I'm going to do streaming, I want to be just like that, or I want what his success looks like. I want, you know, exactly that. And I think he's like, I really do think he's the first, I don't know if you say celebrity streamer, but someone who's gotten to like celebrity status level as a streamer. Like, he wasn't out doing something else first and then became a streamer. He was streaming and he's gotten to that point. So I think, one, you do have a lot of people that are just like eager for that sort of fame and success. And it's easy to think that's what everybody wants is a streaming career. And then what I think is even easier from a streamer's perspective is to try to emulate what he's done and try to build a career based on what he's done, or try to use his formula or whatever to try to recreate it. I see so many, and like when I first saw it, I haven't watched the full stream of his, but I've seen clips of things and I've seen some various things, but I also feel like he's creating a streaming trend, and a lot of people who are getting into streaming that are following that same formula, and a lot very successfully. But I think, I don't know where I'm going with this, child. Hold on. Let me sort through it. But anyway, as people are kind of like trying to recreate that level of success or even strive for that, I think it's bringing a lot of attention, right? Like I think a lot of people that are going for that specific type of streaming are getting a lot of success because a lot of people know him. And when they see familiar streams or streamers, they kind of gravitate towards those people. But I think one thing that it's doing is creating a trend within streaming, and other people who are just like streaming other ways, other things, have a different formula, have a different path that they're on, are starting to feel like, should I lean more into that so I can see the level of success they're seeing and the amount of time they're seeing it? And I think what's happening, it's creating a lot of carbon copy streamers. And I think it's creating this impression that streaming is just one thing. And I think from, experience, if you watch streamers or follow streamers or stream yourself, there's a million ways to do this. And your goals do not have to be the same goals as the next streamer or the same goals as the huge streamer. So that's kind of where I'm trying to get to, is whatever you're doing, I think you need to be realistic about what success looks like for you and what path you want to be on. Like when I think about my streaming career, I talked about this a little bit on Instagram. A lot of people are pouring their all into it. They're like, I want to make it with this is what I want to do. I would love to. I would love to be able to have a career where I wake up every day and create content and stream. That would be lovely. But I also do love the career that I do in real life. And I spent the last 15 years dreaming about the position I'm in today. So it's like, I don't necessarily want to throw that away, but I don't want to I'm not very rigid on my life. Like, I'm like, if streaming things pop off, that's great. If some huge things in my career continue to happen, that's great. I'm not going to like stop one path of mine for the other, but I'm also not going to let streaming take over my life. And when I think about what success looks like for me, it's not fame. I think I have I've been very clear because we've gone viral a couple times, like especially on TikTok, and I've always been very clear, when you have these viral moments, you attract an audience that doesn't always feel like home. I think the way or the path or even the growth path that I'm on when it comes to streaming, it has afforded me the opportunity to really get to know my community and to really mold my community. I always see people talk about all these things like, successful girl streamers only get there because of their looks and XYZ. And I'm like, why would that even be the case? Like when you look at who my community is, one majority women like me who like girly girl things, they're not looking at me like, I don't know. It's very different than if I had a community full of men, which can tend to happen. Like I've noticed even when I've gone viral sometimes on TikTok and then I go live while one of my videos is climbing, the chat is completely different than the chat that I experience on a regular basis. And for me, the most important thing for my streaming is just my comfort and enjoyment with my chat and with the people that are watching and making sure the right people are there. So I haven't ever been one of those people to chase virality, even if it takes me a little longer to get to some of the numbers that I think, a lot of like newer IRL TikTok streamers see very quickly. Sometimes when I watch some of those people's streams, like there's so many people in there that aren't there for the streamer. Like I remember I mentioned that I was scrolling on Twitch the other day and I saw a lot of people, like a lot of streamers crying that they didn't get into TikTok University. And they had some support in their chat, but a lot of their chat was just trash talking them. And sometimes their chat is going so fast that of course you can't read everything, but I can only imagine being the streamer, seeing chat, because you're still going to pull out some things, the things that you can as you're just reading things and chatting with your chat. I'm just like, these people are terrible. Like a lot of people aren't there to be supportive of the streamer. They're not there because the streamer is fun to them or entertaining to them. A lot of them are there to kind of roast or bash these people. And I've noticed that being such a prevalent theme with some of these people that have gone from zero to like hundreds of thousands really quickly. The community isn't always there for them. Like granted, they garner a lot of support. You're gonna naturally garner some supporters, but I think it's that balance that can get off. So when I think about my success, my ideal world, if streaming or content creation ever formed a career for me, I don't think I'm not chasing fame. I think there are moments like I would appreciate, like even when we do TwitchCon and I do a panel. I like doing panels. I like doing it in front of large audiences. That's a bleed over from what I do career wise. And I think it's like that. Like I would love, again, if what success looks like for me is to, one, grow at a rate in which I can keep my community authentic and not necessarily attracting people with virality. It would also be something where I can flex all of my interests, not just streaming, but I've done a lot of like instructional stuff. I've done a lot of speaking on panels and things, different opportunities. I'm only just now getting into the space where I'm working with brands, like this little Enzoid thing over here. More of that, like opportunities that grow with me, but I'm not looking to be a celebrity streamer. I don't know. And I don't think that doesn't have to be everyone's goal. And I think that's what I'm trying to get to. Your goals don't have to be the same as other people that are within your industry or within your field. And I think it's very important, no matter what you do, to really think about what you want out of whatever it is that you're doing and make sure that the actions that you do on a regular basis align and are reaching for that. So that could be legit. Like when I think even about Second Life, I remember when I had my club and there were things, and this was the biggest conflict when I was ending or getting ready to close the club in the end. What we would get is girls that were working at different clubs, and for their peace of mind and what they wanted all of these clubs to be carbon copies of each other. So I remember this one club closed down and a lot of their staff came over to ours and they wanted us so bad to restructure everything to be just like that other club. And it's like, no, our goals and what we want as a business are very different from what they want as a business, and we're going to operate that way. I think it's very easy to look at the success of others and try to formulate your business strategy or your goals around someone else successful. And I think people always say that, like, find an example and like custom fit whatever you do to their strategy. I don't think that's the smartest way to do things. And I don't think I've ever seen success myself from doing that. I really think it is about, what do you want from this? Like, truly. Because your goals are not going to be the same as the next person, even if they're doing the exact same thing. Like, what do you want from this? What does success look like? And what are the building blocks to get you there? And that, I think, is a smarter approach than look at the people that are doing the best at what you're doing and copy them. I always see that. Like, I think even on YouTube, I remember when I was like starting in Second Life YouTube, I saw a lot of videos that say that, like, look at the creators and the YouTubers that you like and see what they're doing strategy wise and do the same thing, but make it your own, put your own little twist on it. And I'm like, I guess like they have the number of subscribers I want, but they don't have the full package of what I want. So I think, maybe we stop this whole, like, let me look at this other person that's successful and copy their strategy with my own twist. Because are your goals, do you want exactly what they have? Like, I don't know. So I took all that away from this all came up because we were talking about Kai Cenat Streamer University and why it didn't appeal to me. Like, I'm a lot older. I'm an older streamer. We are nearing our late 30s over here, and streaming to me isn't this like make or break thing. It's not. I'm not reliant on it. It's cool, like second job. It's a cool gig. It's a gig that could turn into a career. But even when I think about what my career would look like, it's not that. And that's not what I'm reaching for. I don't know who this video is to. At first it was going to be like a video to people that are watching streamers, because I think a lot of people, sometimes when you're watching, you want the best for the streamer that you watch. I'm the same way. I watch streams and I want the best for them. But all of us aren't the same. We don't all want the same things, and we don't want to all foster the same environment. I think when you go to a streamer's chat or channel or community, like, as you're there, like, I think you get a different vibe from every different type of streamer. I mean, I do think, like I said, I think it's what's going on with streaming right now is producing a trend, and there are a lot of streamers that feel very similar. But I think, a lot of people that are really working on fostering community that makes them feel at home, makes them feel like this is a safe, creative space. It's very different. What was I going to say? Oh, even like earlier this week, I got this comment on YouTube. I've been posting shorts. I've been trying to like post shorts more regularly. So that's my focus for the next month or so, is to consistently post a few shorts a day. And I got a comment on one of the shorts. Someone was like, this is not TikTok. You can't do this type of content over here. And it's like, what a weird thing to think. Like, that I am so focused on whatever you think success is, that I'm going to follow a very rigid set of rules for a platform that I get to treat as my own. Like, my YouTube channel is like you coming to my house. Like, I get to do whatever I want. I get to build the type of content. I can truly turn that into a very curated experience, including like things that may come out of conversations that we have on stream. So it's weird to me that someone would come in there and say you can't create this sort of content here in your house for your community because this is not another platform. Meanwhile, I have a strategy of how all of my platforms work together. And a lot of the shorts that I post are from conversations that we've had in chat on the channel that my community is familiar with, but also relatable for people who are outside of the community. And what's funny is that video ended up being, so YouTube rates you on a 1 to 10 for every video. That video ended up being a 1. And that video ended up getting more views than anything that he had on his channel. So it's like, it looks like my video is, one, reaching the goals that you very likely have, and two, you're so rigid in trying to figure out what belongs on what platform that you're already just not thinking about what belongs in your house, your little YouTube house, your space, and cultivating your community, which is my goal. So I can't even say that's his goal. Maybe his goal is virality. Maybe he thinks following a very specific algorithmic set of standards is going to get him to whatever his goal is. For me, mine is community, relating with my community and finding other like-minded individuals that just enjoy themselves on the internet and will enjoy what I'm producing. So very different goals. It was very bizarre for me to see another creator come into another creator space to say, you can't do this here. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I don't know if I'm going to put this on the channel, but how long is this? Where are we at? We about 20 minutes in. I just like these little check-ins, and like, I've always liked doing videos, little commentary videos, like what I've learned this week or whatever. I know for sure this is something I would put on TikTok. If we like it over here on YouTube, let me know. I'll continue them. Again, I wish I had a little coffee cup that I was sitting here sipping some coffee with and having these conversations or doing my makeup. That was the plan. I have a bunch of makeup in front of me. We were going to sit here and do makeup and talk about it, but I hadn't fully formulated my thoughts, and I think I'm a little I keep picking that up, not your hand, but I'm a little out of practice with these little like let's just sit down and chit chat for a second videos, because it's been a very long time since I've done them. I used to do them all the time, but a lot of it was related to Second Life. But I think again, this one kind of is. It's kind of related to everything: streaming, Second Life. But I remember, see, now I'm really going off into a tangent, girl. So sorry if this is hard to follow. But I remember back in the day when I was creating a lot of commentary stuff on Second Life, I wanted to get into the series about how like the creator economy, like the asset creator economy within Second Life, like not necessarily people creating content, but people that create businesses in Second Life and have stores and all of that. Because one thing I noticed is a lot of them are following the same like cookie cutter formula, the same cookie cutter format as one another. And I think they all look at each other. That's what I think stifles Second Life creators. I could get into a whole different conversation about this because I worked with a ton of them over the years, and even the way they approach me and my requests. And I remember I wanted to do this video one time on like a video to Second Life content creators, like streamers and YouTubers who create, or TikTokers who create content for Second Life. And I wanted to be like, don't fall in the same rigid formula that Second Life creators are going to try to push you in. And this is not because I think like Second Life creators are like malicious or anything. It's because I think a lot of them fall within the same formula. They see what works and they're very opposed to stepping outside of it. A lot of them, not all of them. I think you can honestly look and maybe count on one hand the amount of like large Second Life creators who have stepped outside of a formula and who are kind of in a lane of their own and building a career path and a brand that is very unique. I think there are very few. I could think of a couple right now, but a lot of them fall within the same exact formula. And that is everything from how often they create, how they produce their ads and vendors, what type of events they participate in, what their event participation looks like, what it looks like what bodies to create for, what their marketing looks like, how they interact with social media, what their blogger programs look like, how they interact with content creators. Like, they follow the same exact structure. And it's so interesting to see like how people just take that, and I mean, a lot of it works. So a lot of times they do see Second Life success, but that doesn't mean it's impossible to see that same amount of success while being very authentic and true to yourself in your work style and what you enjoy. And I think, sometimes as the consumer, we don't see a huge difference, right? Even though I see a difference. Sometimes we may not see a difference. We see two huge brands. We're not really looking at the strategy that got there, but we can see that the creator behind that brand, you see the burnt out creator versus the one that is still enjoying themselves 15 years later. So maybe take that into consideration. It's not necessarily that you can't be successful doing things like a cookie cutter way, but it can burn you the hell out. And it can make this all just not as fun for you or enjoyable for you. So keep that in consideration. That's my very long rant. But I think, more of the story is understand what your goals are with something, understand what you want out of it, understand what success looks like for you, and then build a strategy that gets you there. And you don't have to be a cookie cutter copy of someone else or someone else's brand or how someone else is doing it. And staying true in that is really what is going to help you in the long run to have a long career or be able to do whatever you're doing for a long term without burning out every 2 seconds trying to chase someone else's vision of success. But anyway, long ranty video. That's all I have for now. I'm gonna go, I need to clean my office. It's so funny that my office looks so clean from this angle. My office is a hot ass mess. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of a rant. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments if you can. And then if you relate, if you're doing something, whether it's career, whether it's a hobby, whether it's something within gaming or one of these virtual platforms where you're struggling to maybe find your path, or you've noticed that you stray away from what is the most common and that's how you're finding your joy. Anyway, I'd love to hear your comments, or I'd love to hear your thought in comments. So drop a comment if you can, por favor. And if not, just what you think about these kind of videos, if you want to see more of these or not, or just say hello to me. Comments and like things where I can engage with you guys, that is my interest. Like I said, my community here I think is my biggest interest with creating. Yes, I would love to see the community grow, but again, with the right individuals who are here for the same purpose, like community and entertainment and fun. So anyway, if you enjoy your time here, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing as well, por favor, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
You in her DM, I'm in her mouth, we not the same. Flipping the funk, the heat, the fire, got the flame. Came with the gift, the gab, and blessed with lots of game. Niggas be mad at me, they know I'm not to blame. You in her DM, I'm in her mouth, we not the same. Flipping the funk, the heat, the fire, got the flame. Came with the gift, the gab, and blessed with lots of game.